Lee McNeil's rapping now.
Concentrate on football. Jordan wasn't out there putting out rap albums.
Can't
Kobe
believe
Bryant this
playing
morning.
cards and golfing, is that different from rapping?
Yes, it is.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's
He's not sitting there
absolutely
coming
not.
up with bars. He's
the
I
same
don't
as
need
playing
entertainers.
basketball.
I need competitors.
They are competitors. They do compete.
When you're
stop
battle
it.
rapping,
Oh,
what
my
is it? Oh, okay. Papa Doc's going to come out and send your ass across 8 miles.
Oh, your
I
body.
want dogs. I want people who love the game.
We
not
have
love.
dogs. Don't question these guys because they're putting out rap songs.
I do want to talk about this defensive line because, guys, if you look at the injuries right now for the Detroit Lions, we already know Romeo Okwara coming off an Achilles injury. He's hurt. He'll be back. You also have Josh Pascal, had that sports hernia. Probably will be back to start of the regular season, if not a couple games later. You have Levi Ozarike, who's also dealing with some. It's a back and hip injury, and that's what Spencer. He posed the question here, and I'm going to go around the room. I'll go to the people as well. Are you worried about the lack of depth with this, or I shouldn't say lack of depth, but the starters being injured? Because we know there's depth, but you're really just looking at Aiden Hutchinson now and Lee McNeil going into the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, lack of depth, I think, is the proper way to put it because our defense is so, I'll just say, not talented that we can't afford to lose the starters. Yeah, if that's a hot take to you, you don't pay attention to football. I just got to be honest with you. But I think it's one of those things where our defense is already struggling, and depth is an issue, but even our starters' depth is an issue. So any type of negative impact on the defense at any point in time is really going to wear on this team because they're already fighting an uphill battle with these guys, right? So, yeah, outside, we need Paschal to come back. I really think if we have him and Hutchinson bookending this defense, that will alleviate a lot of the pressure of the linebackers, right? You get pressure on the quarterback, you're better at controlling the line of scrimmage, your linebackers will be better. Same thing with the defensive backs because we need to focus on that defensive line, put pressure on the quarterback, your DBs have to cover less time, not 8 seconds, maybe 3 to 4. We got the guys that can do 3 to 4 seconds. So really, everything is on our defensive line moving forward because they need to cover up so many holes that this defense already has. And if they're not there, if Aiden Hutchinson isn't putting pressure on the quarterback, if Paschal doesn't come back and we can't get that defensive line in order, we're in for a long season on the defensive side of the ball, and I hope our offense can keep up.
And it's only going to benefit Aiden Hutchinson as well if you have, like you mentioned, Josh Pascal, Romeo Okwara, because who you double teaming? I mean, you can't if you just have a Lee McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson out there. Like again, there's going to be more situations for them to try and contain Aiden. I think Aiden's going to be just fine, but again, more starters in the game, it's going to be more beneficial. But I think also the defensive line, out of the entire defense, and you hit on it, it's not very talented as a whole, as a unit.
Yeah.
But I think the defensive line is probably out of the three, the linebackers, the secondary, probably least worry. But still, the lack of depth is a little bit worrying. But
it should be our least. We just spent the first and second round pick addressing that issue. That should be the least of your concerns because we addressed that concern. Really didn't bring anybody in on the linebacker position. Really didn't bring any cornerbacks or safeties in this season. You're hoping Okudah can be kind of a diamond in the rough and pay off for our patience with him, that he gets back healthy, and then all of a sudden, okay, we have a defensive line and we have a shutdown corner. We're starting to piece it together here a little bit. Now maybe we bring in a better linebacker, and now all of a sudden we have a star player at all three levels on defense. And we'll get there, but it's going to take time. You see how they built this offense. They established the offensive line first.
And the
then
trenches.
They went and got the toys, right? Then they went and got your Jamison Williams. And they need to do that on defense. Establish that defensive line first, because I think Dan Campbell knows where this game's won. It's won in the trenches. You saw it with Sam Darnold last year, putting the pressure on that so Chase couldn't get that wide open pass, right, to win the Super Bowl. Those are the things that you need to see out of our defensive line this year, because it makes up for so many other deficiencies.
And Dr. Dirty D says Aleem, Aiden, Harris, and Austin getting big compliments this offseason. Can't worry about injury.
I liked Austin. Austin's had a pretty nice preseason.
He has. And like Sam said earlier, 4.5 sacks last year. So he's getting better. I know another comment was brought up, too, about Levi Ozarike being injured for the second year in a row. And listen, guys, this is my take on it. Like, if Levi works out, that's just another player from that draft class that is a starter. Like, if he doesn't, You still have Aleem.
Yeah.
You still have Panay.
Derek Barnes
Amon-Ra.
is another guy you got to worry about. I
Yeah.
mean, Barnes is
and I like Derek Barnes,
along,
but I'm disappointed. I really am.
I thought he was going to be a much harder hitter, just a bigger force on that team. But we'll see. We'll see. He's got a chance to make the squad still.
No, he does. He does. And Sam Flannel, you mentioned it earlier. I want to go to you. This defensive line, does it concern you with the lack of depth, just with injuries happening already?
Well, without injuries, I would argue that at least with pass rushers, there isn't a lack of depth. I would say in the interior defensive line, that's what scares me. You got Ali McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, Michael Brockers, and Levi Onwuzurike is hurt. That's what scares me. I know that you can move Aiden Hutchinson inside, but I would rather see him do most of his work from the outside.
I agree.
But the defensive line, to me, has always, this is the key to having a good or at least serviceable defense, if the defensive line can work out. And we've still seen, where is Josh Paschal? We haven't seen him. We don't know. He's a guy you worry about. And Romeo Okwara, obviously, he's coming off of an Achilles, and that's tough. But if we can get everybody healthy, if the Lions get everybody healthy, I think this pass rushing group, Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara, who has showed some flashes, Austin Bryant, who has showed some flashes, that's not a bad pass rushing crew at all. And I think that if everybody gets healthy, this could be the number one strength of that defense.
I 100% agree with Sam. I think the depth is there once these guys get back from injury. The injuries that concern me are really, obviously, Levi. It's a back injury. It's a nagging injury with a guy of that size and what he does. That's something that he needs to get right if he wants to, continue playing or to play at all in the NFL. So, but like Sam said, we got Charles Harris, we got Hutch. Once Romeo gets healthy from that Achilles, once Julian gets back, once Pascal gets back, you can move Pascal inside. He'd be more of a better on the inside kind of guy. And you bring back, Romeo Okwara to sub out for Charles Harris. You bring in Julian Okwara to sub out for Aiden Hutchinson. That's a pretty deep pass rushing four. And then you have other guys you can throw in there. So I like it. I think once they get everybody healthy, that will be a strength of that defense for sure, especially with Aleem. And if Levi can get back, those two up front will be dangerous. But we need health is the main thing. We need to get these guys back for real.
Well, and I like our coaching, though. Like, Aaron Glenn, I think, is going to coach these guys up. He may not have all the tools in the shed to be able to build us the beautiful mansion and the house that we want. But we saw last year, even with a spotty defensive squad, the effort that those guys give in, because defense is a lot based on effort. Skill can take you a long way, but if you don't have that dog in you, or Joik said, you don't have that gorilla in you.
Like Rodrigo.
Yeah, effort, and you're seeing it exactly. He is a prime example of, he may not have the supreme athleticism, right? And he didn't show out with his 40 time and all of that stuff, but he's showing that maximum effort, getting your assignments, understanding angles, understanding positioning, and trusting your teammates to know that, hey, my defensive end is going to make sure there's contain happening. I got to stay inside because he's going to turn the run back into me so I can take this angle. And hopefully we may not be the most athletic defense, but we can be the most cerebral defense. And that's where we can make up for some of the things that we are lacking.
And that's the benefit of having a guy like Aaron Glenn, who's in control of this unit. And I think in terms of depth for the defensive line, I'm not as concerned because you kind of saw it yesterday. Like we talked about earlier in the show, Kaminsky, you brought up also Austin Bryant, two guys that played well, Eric Banks. Like, they got guys. The thing I'm concerned about is probably on the interior, like besides Aleem McNeil, to really be able to stop the run. Aiden Hutchinson also is very good, but like you said, Sam Flannel, you want him on the outside. You want him getting after the quarterback. That's the number one thing for Aiden. As good as he might be at stopping the run, Joey said in the chat, I agree, and he brought up he's bringing the stats out, had a 90.8 run grade at Michigan. So listen, the guy can stop the run as well, but that's really my concern with this defensive line. Not too much everybody else. And Dr. Dirty D says Aleem McNeil isn't trash. Has an album that isn't complete trash. You guys, Aleem McNeil's rapping now. It was actually pretty good, by the way. It was, yeah. I checked it out. Listen,
concentrate on football. You can rap after football. Concentrate on football. I don't need Andre Drummond running around wanting to DJ in all the clubs. No, I get you're supposed to have depth. That's awesome, but concentrate on football. Your career is only going to be 5 to 10 years, maybe, right, at most. Take that time. Put everything you got into being a better football player. Leave the rap until after. I'm promising you, it'll work out better for you. Nobody needs to. I saw, and even like Cade Cunningham, I saw his rapping, and I'm like, Cade, you are supremely talented. You are the face of this team. I get it's part of the culture. I understand it all, man. But put every ounce of energy you have into basketball. Be Michael Jordan. Jordan wasn't out there putting out rap albums. You know what he was doing? He was in the gym. I was watching a video.
And he was gambling and golfing all the time. Yeah. Like you can be good at basketball.
He was doing competitive things, though.
That's completely different.
But I was watching Kobe Bryant this
playing
morning.
Cards and golfing, is that different from rapping?
Yes, it is.
No,
yeah.
it's not.
Because he's not sitting there coming up with bars. He's like, come on,
that
man.
Is nothing
what are you talking about?
You can sit at a table and gamble, and that is the same as playing basketball.
I don't need entertainers. I need competitors.
They are competitors. They do compete. They can go put some bars out. That's fine.
That does me real good.
They literally do their whole lives preparing for this sport.
At least when Jordan's golfing, he can operate and practice doing things under pressure.
Oh,
when you're battle rapping, what is it? Oh, okay. Papa Doc's gonna come out and send your ass across 8 Mile.
Oh,
I don't need rappers. I need ball players.
They are ball players. This is what they do in their spare time. They're dedicating their lives to this. It's not like
what Kobe did in his spare time? You know what Kobe did in his spare time?
What?
He practiced.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like this morning I was watching a thing on TikTok that Kobe was talking about. He's like, yeah, most guys, they'll get up at 9, go to the gym, 9 to noon, eat lunch, recover, go back to the gym. He's like, I'm in the gym from 4 to 6. Then I eat breakfast. Then I go back. Like, he gets in 4 workouts in a day while these other dudes are slacking, only doing 2, writing effing lyrics down.
Yeah, and that overworks your body.
I want dogs. I want people who love the game.
We have dogs. Don't question these guys because they're putting out rap songs.
I am.
That's boomerish.
And it's not rap. It could be if this guy was singing country music. I'd be like, quit writing country lyrics and get out there and tackles. It has nothing to do with the genre of music. It's that I want my players to be focused on playing the sport I am paying them to play. Andre Drummond was in more clubs in this city, and he had every ounce of talent to be an elite player in the NBA, but he didn't want it.
Don't compare Andre Drummond to Cade Cunningham. Andre Drummond is
too much on other things.
But I'm giving you an example of a guy with talent that wanted to be a bar star, and it doesn't help you in your NBA game.
What about Damian Lillard? Damian Lillard does the same thing and puts out multiple rap albums, and he's been an all-star the past 8 years.
All-star, great. Do they get out of the fucking first round of the playoffs? Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, they made the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago.
Once.
By himself. In the NBA, you can't do that by yourself.
I'm telling you this, he's not putting out that album, they go to the championship.
Stop it, dude.
I just gotta say.
Come on, Stick.
Papa Doc, walking across. You bring that up. You bringing some references in here.
Oh,
Papa
man.
Doc,
Everybody from the 313.
I love it, man. I love it.